Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Bhignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Bharade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenaksharasamamnayam adhigamya maheshwarat kritsnam vyakaranam proktam tasmai paninaye namaha vakyakaram varaduchim bhashyakaram patanjalim paninim sutrakarancha pranatosmi munitrayam Bhagartha viva samprikto Bhagartha pratipattaye Jagatah pitaro vande Parvati parameshwaro Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Namaste everyone, welcome to class. So we're starting off with some Sandhi. So before we do that, let's look at, let's chant our Maheshwara Sutra. Let me hide some of these things. Here we are. So we can chant, you can repeat after me. A, I, Un, Rilik, A, Ong, I, Ouch, Haya, Varata, Lan, Nyamagananam, Jabhanya, Gadhadash, Jabagadadash, Kapha Chata Tha Chata Tav, Kapai, Shashasar, Hal, Iti Maheshwarani Sutrani. Okay, so now that we said our Maheshwara Sutra, I think we're all ready to do some Sandhi. Somehow that connection should be there, Maheshwara Sutra and Sandhi. Sandhi itself means connection, right? So we're going to look at this. So I said, let's, look at some Sandhis. So now I kind of took them out of context. So now this is a little bit more difficult. It's not looking at, what we learned and then doing examples just on that one type of Sandhi. So this is kind of all mixed up. So we're going to try to look at these so that we get more, natural practice. So the first one, if we look at Ramaha Asti, you can look at that chart on the right side. This will help us out with this. This is in the beginning of the Visarga Sandhi book, section of the Sandhi book. So Ramaha Asti. We have Visarga preceded by, so the Purva letter is Akara, Para letter is Akara. So it goes O, right? And O. So Ramosti. Ramosti. Ramaha plus agachati. We have Visarga preceded by followed by a. So this is what we call Arjuna Uvacha Sandhi. So Rama agachati. Agachati. The next one, we keep going, right? Ramha plus iti. It's the same thing, right? Because any vowel other than akara, then Visarga drops. So Rama iti. Okay, let's skip the next two because it's the same, right? Let's go to the next side. Ramaha plus gachanti. So now the Visarga is preceded by akara. So now we have to look at that first, right? Visarga is preceded by akara. So we have to start in the second the second layer there, where it says akara, and we look for ga. Now, ga is not a vowel, right? It's not a hard consonant, it's a soft consonant. So a and soft consonant is guna guneshu or jana gat agachanti sandhi. You see, we can remember either of these names. Okay, so when that happens, really anything which follows akara, except for hard consonants, right, that visarga drops. So this one's, if it's akara, that's a little bit more helpful, right? Then you kind of know anything that comes except for hard consonant, right? Then it's the visarga is going to drop. So Rama, Rama gachanti. Same thing with the next one, right? Rama gatante, right? Same thing with the next one. Rama atanti. Same thing with the next one. Rama agachanti. Same thing with the next one, right? Because any vowel or soft consonant, if it follows, then that visarga is going to drop when akara is preceding the visarga. So those are just some of the exercises that we've done. We saw Shivo Sandhi, Arjuna Vacha Sandhi, Guna Guneshu Sandhi, and Namo Namaha Sandhi, which is last time we saw. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on sandhis before we go on from there? We're going to go to the next sandhi exercise. Okay, so no questions. So I'm going to switch over devices. You can open your Sandhi book. We're going to the next Sandhi, which is Gururbrahma Sandhi. Gururbrahma Sandhi. That's my page 28. I think it's like around 32 for you, because I think my page is a little bit off. So Gururbrahma Sandhi, around page 30, I would say. 30, 32, somewhere around there. Gururbrahma. All right, page 26. Oh, it's 2 pages before. Okay, so page 26. Someone said Gururbrahma Sandhi. Sorry, misled you there. All right. So if you look at what's on the screen, right, this is our chart. What we're going to do is we're going to look at when ich precedes and follows by basically anything. I mean, any vowel or a soft consonant. Right? So let's look at the rule, Gururbrahma Sandhi. So when a visarga is preceded by the purva letter is ich, and the para letter is ash. Then this visarga gets replaced by rakara. Okay, visarga preceded by ich and followed by ash. The visarga is replaced by rakara. Now we have to remember what is ich and what is ash. Now it says it there, but let's look at on the Maheshwara Sutta, right? Ich is ikara and ending with chakara, right? So it's every vowel other than a or a, right? It's anything other than akara or avarna rather. Okay, so ich. So it's a or, and so a includes akara. So when visarga is preceded by ich, which is any other than avarna, and it's followed by ash. Now ash, right? Akara and shakara. So that's this whole section, all the vowels and all the soft consonants. All the vowels and all the soft consonants. So basically, if it's not a hard consonant, that's another way of looking at it, the negative way of looking at it. If it's not a hard consonant following that ich, then that's going to become rakara. Okay. So now we can say the prayer. Ready? Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Right? It's not Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. It's Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu. Because of this sandhi right here. Okay? We have Visarga preceded by U, which is part of Ich, and Gurur Brahma. Bakara, right, is Ash, is a soft consonant. So that's why it's Gurur Brahma. So a lot of people say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, but it's Gurur. You have to get that rakara. It comes in with there. All right. So let's look at some more examples here. Okay, so I have Rishihi. So Visarga preceded by Ikara. Right? Visarga preceded by Ikara and followed by Akara. Akara is a vowel, right? So I'm going to replace that Visarga with Ra. So Rishir Asti. Same thing here. Ikara is preceding, Bakara is following. Bakara is a soft consonant. So Rishir Bhavati. You can see these other examples. Shrir Asti, Shrir Bhavati. But you have to remember, right? It doesn't have to just be Ikara, it's Ich. Any vowel other than Akara. So U can be preceding, right? Ekara can precede. Okara can precede. And whatever it is, you're going to get that rakara, like Guroho Asti, Guror Asti. Guroho Bhavati becomes Guror Bhavati. Okay. All right. So let me, does anyone has any questions, you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. So let's do some of the exercises. So this is right after that. If someone wants to raise their hand, either on the Zoom function or just put a hello in the chat and I can unmute you. And you can do 1 through 5. And then people can write it in the chat while they're doing that. Let's do this one. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay. Mukoji, 1 second. Okay. Mukoji, I think you're unmuted. Go ahead. Oh, I can't hear you. 1 second. You should be unmuted. Can you try speaking?
Okay, the first one.
Yep.
Nirashihi aparigraha. Nirashir aparigraha.
Yeah, perfect. Number 3.
Shuddhihi plus iti. Shuddhir iti.
Yeah, number 5.
Munihi plus uchyate. Munir uchyate.
Munir uchyate. Yeah, perfect.
That's it, right? 1, 3, 5, or maybe?
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so we'll stop there. Then, so I think that kind of, you know, how about in the chat? What people can do is number 12. Guruhu Eva becomes, in the chat, can you type in Guruhu Eva becomes what? Yeah, looks good. This is also in Gururbrahma Shloka, right? Sometimes it's a Guru Sakshat, right? Guru Sakshat, we say Guru Reva Param Brahma, right? Guru Eva Param Brahma. So that rakara, right? That rakara needs to enter there. So pronunciation is quite, you know, now we know why these sometimes when we're pronouncing shlokas, why we're so particular, because we're applying Sandhi rules in between, right? All right. Yeah. Rupaji, go ahead. You have a question?
So, and this is not the Sandhi part,
Yep.
but in the shloka, sometimes we say Guru Reva Parabrahma, and sometimes we say Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. They're both right. According to grammar and everything else, it's correct. But which is the actual version?
Yeah, so if you see Guru Strotram, right? They say Guru Reva.
Ah.
And I think because it fits the meter there.
Yeah.
With the way we're chanting.
Correct.
So I think I don't think either is correct, because I mean as in both are correct, because Sakshat means Eva, they both mean like alone. So I think they're just, one is put in the meter and so that they put Eva there. But I think that's equally correct as Guru Sakshat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now resolving is the same thing. Now this is more likely what you're going to see, right? You're going to see it like this, right? Agniraham becomes Agnihi Aham, right? Can you say with me? You can mouth it, right? Brigur Aham is Briguhu Aham. We saw this so many times now. Let's go. Yeah, so you'll see in today, I'm sure you'll see in today's class, there's always rakaras in Vedanta class, you'll see. So tayor na vijugupsate, tayoho na. Yogairapi, yogaihi api. Rishir bhavati, rishihi bhavati. Okay. So this is our Gururbrahma Sandhi. So just as we remember, right, a soft consonant is all of this over here. So this is all hard, right? And the soft is all the stuff on this right side of the chart. Okay. All right. Now, I was made aware that the Yad Dat homework was particularly difficult. Was there any questions that were specifically difficult? Otherwise, I will just go to Kim, and Kim, I think, might answer some of the questions. But if there's any specific questions that were difficult, let me know, and we can look at that. You know. So can you review the last one? Yeah, so I have it here. Okay, so ye janaha ishwaram bhajante tesham yogam ishwaraha vahati. Okay, so this is we're jumping. I didn't tell you where we're jumping to. We're in the book 1. We're skipping to Yad and Tad. So this is all the way in the back of your book. This is page 177, exercise number 17. This is number 8, the last one of exercise 17, page 177. So I'll give you a second to switch over. So this is the example that's given. Ye janaha ishwaram bhajante tesham yogam ishwaraha bhati. So the first thing we want to do with the yad tad clause is we want to find our yad and we find our tad. So what you can do is you can actually circle the yad and you can circle the tad. That's what you generally want to do first, is find out where is the yad and where is the tad. I'm not actually writing on here because it actually gets messy, so I'm using this like highlighter. Okay, so yad clause is that whole first part up until the verb, right? So ye janaha ishwaram bhajante. And the tad clause is starting with tad and going to the verb. Okay, so we start with the yad clause. We always want to start picking up the verb first, right? So in the yad clause, the verb we pick up is bhajante, right? Bhaj dhatu, one you, to serve, or another meaning is to take possession. Often this is the more common meaning that we often see. Okay. When we see you, meaning that it can often go parasmaipada or atmanepada. Okay, it can go either way. So now, lat lakara, kartari prayoga, third one. Why is it kartari prayoga? Because there's no yakara, right? We see the atmanepada, but we do not see the yakara in there. It's not bhajante, right? It's bhajante. All right, so that's how we know it's kartari prayoga. And we see the ante, so that's third three. We always want to find the first case after that verb. So we can pick up the first one here, which is ye, or you can start with janaha, either one, right? Here, we're starting with ye. Ye, right? Yad shabda, dakaranta sarvanama shabda, punlingaha, or we can say dakaranta punlinga, sarvanama shabda. The order does not matter there. This is 1-3, like sarve, ye. Not like rame. Rame is 7-1. This is like sarve, which is 1-3. Sarvaha, sarvo, sarve. Adjective to janaha. So we can vibhakti artha, we can write as adjective, or we can write what the vibhakti artha is here, because it's going to copy the same thing. Okay, so janaha is jana shabda akaranta pullinga, meaning people. This is 1-3. Pratama vibhakti bahuvachanam. This is kartari pratama to bhajante. Okay, so far we have ye janaha bhajante. Ye, those who, janaha, those people who, bhajante, serve. So those people who serve. Okay, now object of bhajante, oops, didn't mean to do that, is Ishwaram. Ishvara is akaranta pullinga, dutiya vibhakti ekavachanam, like Ramam. This is karmani dutiya to bhajante. So it's the object of serving. So those people who serve, who? Ishvara, God, right? The Lord. Okay? Now, this yad and janaha, because it's an adjective, right? These are samanadikaranam, right? So they're both going to be the same case. And here they don't have to be the same number, but here they are on the same number, right? So they're both 1-3. So now we want to look at the tad clause. We always want to start with the verb vahati. Vahati is vaha dhatu, one you, to bear, to carry. Lat kartri prayoga, third one. Then we usually want to go with the first case. So let's start with the first case here. Okay, vaha means to carry, right? So he, she, it carries or bears. Let's start with the first case here. Ishwara. Ishwara, akaranta pullinga, pratama vibhakti ekavachanam, karti pratama to vahati. So Ishvara carries. Or brings, right? Bears, brings. Carries what? Or brings what? Yoga. Yoga means is akaranta pullinga to one, karmani dutiya to vahati. Now yoga, in this is coming from Bhagavad Gita. It's a very specific meaning. here means that which you've acquired wealth, or acquired wealth. So there's the shloka that says, Yoga Kshema Vaham Yaham. I take care of your wealth. Okay, but for who? Tesham. Tad Dakarantaha Sarvanama Shabda Punlinga 6-3. And this is Sambandhe Shashti to Yogam, because the yoga belongs to them or their. It's their yoga. So those people who worship Ishvara, for those people, right, Ishvara brings their yoga. So you can write it like this, or you can write it, if you want to literally translate it, you would say, yeah, those people who worship Ishvara, we would just have to include this. For them, Ishvara brings their yoga. Well, because we have there, we don't need to say for them, but either way, you can say for them, Ishvara brings yoga, or Ishvara brings their yoga, right? Tesham means is possession. So for them or their, either one is okay. So you can do either one, for them or their. Okay, so is there any questions with this number, I think 7? Ye janaha Ishwaram bhajante, those people who worship Ishvara, tesham, for them, yogam Ishvara vahati. Ishvara brings yogam, their wealth. Okay. Nilamaji, you have a question? Let me unmute you. Okay, go ahead. You're unmuted.
Okay, sorry. The Sambandhe Shashti, you said it is for yogam. Usually when you do the Vibhakti Artha, it gives in case for the verb, right? Not for the noun. So that part confused me.
Yeah. So usually, right, when we say karaka, right, karaka is always connected to the verb. But 6 case does not have a karaka.
Yeah, it's non-karaka.
This is only non-karaka. So sambandha is not always, it's not to the verb. The relationship is not to the verb,
Okay,
it's to another noun.
Okay. So that's the rule all the time for Sambandhe Shashti, that Vibhakti Artha is for another noun karaka, not the verb. Okay.
Yeah, it's always connected to another noun.
Got it.
When I say your water bottle, I'm not connecting to a verb, I'm connected to the water bottle, or your pen, or his pen, etc. Right? That possession always goes with another verb.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, one more question. Okay. Urmilaji, you're unmuted, I think.
Yeah. My question was, can you better define how do we figure out adjective, and somewhere you also there is an answer subjective in one of those things. I was not clear how you make it subjective. I think it was.
How to figure out whether it's adjective, substantive, how to figure that relationship out, right?
And I have a second question, which I think still not clear.
Mm-hmm.
You had said we would do the Tingantam Padam first, and then you go to the Prathama Vibhakti. In the examples in the book, she has used tad or yad. So is there any reason, or is it's okay to use either one?
So you're saying, is it after going to the verb, we usually go to the first case, but here she didn't do that? Is that the question?
Correct. Right.
Okay. So I'll answer both of those. So, okay. One thing is, so when we're trying to figure out adjective, substantive, or when we're doing predicate, uddeshya videya. When we're looking at this, one of the tricks that comes off right away is if you have 2 words in the same case and generally the same number, then they're going to be adjective substantive. Okay. So usually that's the case when you have 2 words in the same case and same number, they're oftentimes adjectives, that one is an adjective to the other. That's not always the case, right? That's not a hard and fast rule, because you can have two words that are pointing to two completely different things, right? They have to be in the same number and same case, and they also have to be pointing to the same object, right? Ye, those who, and janaha, they're both referring to people, right? So they're both in the same adhikaranam, samana adhikaranam, right? They're the same, they're both pointing to the same thing, and they also have the same case. Now that's how you know that they're adjective substantive, right? Here we don't write, so there's no other words in the same case. They're not gonna be oftentimes adjective substantive. Okay, so, and then the other question, right? We always usually look for the verb, and then we usually go to the first case. Here in the examples, when she's going through, she doesn't always go to the first case directly. Okay, so we want to, the reason why we usually go to the first case is because you want to find what is connected to the verb, right? So when we say vahati, your automatic question is me kaha vahati, who carries or who brings? Now that's going to be told by my first case. Ishvara brings. But I don't necessarily need to translate like that. So often, you know, what she does is she'll go verb, and she'll go to the first word in that section and then go left to right. Okay, that's another way that you can do this. Either way works. This way we've practiced because it's especially for the easier questions, it's more helpful. But as our questions get more advanced, you don't need to follow that rule every time. It's up to you. Okay, so it's not like you have to do that. It helps us, so we often do that, right? So it's not like an automatic rule. But I still like to do it, especially when we're doing this, because it's the best practice kind of thing. It's especially for beginners, it's easier because you want to know who did that action or who is the object of that verb, right? If it's karmani. So I hope that makes sense. Let me unmute you if you have any follow-up questions with that. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, I think. Okay, for some reason I can't unmute you, and I don't think you can unmute yourself either. Yeah, go ahead. Now you're unmuted.
Okay. The second question you answered. The first one, I still have a question. So the adjective, I understand. When you had in the other one, the subjective predicate. Is it the same rule holds good there too?
Yeah, so the predicate, Uddesha Videya, predicate substantive, I'm forgetting the word for it. Noun predicate. The noun predicate relationship, it's very similar to adjective and substantive.
Okay.
The only thing is you'll say instead of brown cow, you'll say the cow is brown. So it's still qualifying it. It's just a different structure of the sentence. And that you'll also know, you just see if the case is the same.
Okay. Okay.
So it's just that when you do that noun predicate, that it just becomes a little bit different structure. You, instead of saying brown cow, you'll say cow is brown. It's a little bit slightly different, but very similar.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. And Neelamaji, go ahead. I can hear you.
When I was working on that last sentence, what came to me was for those people who worship Ishvara, ye janaha Ishvaram bhajante, for them, yoga brings Ishvara, is what I came up with. Instead of saying Ishvara brings yoga, and when I checked the answers, then I knew I was wrong.
Yeah.
So how do I know what to bring? How do I know Ishvara brings yoga or yoga brings Ishvara?
Yeah. So I'm going to put you on mute. So that's why it's helpful to look at the first case after looking at the verb, right? Because who brings the first case? Because this is kartari, right? So who brings? Ishvara is going to bring. What's the object of bring? Yoga. He's going to bring yoga. Yoga can't bring because yoga is not the karta. It's the karma. It's the object of it. So that's why we have to be a little bit careful when going through these. That's why this case, I mean, that's why we go each word, pratipadika, supratyaya, vibhakti, artha. Eventually, we're not going to go through all that like that. But that's why it's helpful, because then we can be able to do that. Okay. All right. So we're over time. So we're going to stop here. Quickly, let's just look at this number 7, right? Prapyate, pervades, one who pervades, sarvasmin, everything, tasmai, to that, Ishvara, my namaskara, or may there be namaskara. Okay, you can look at this one. That's the 1-minute version of that. It takes a lot longer to go through this. You can, yeah. So prapyate, you can translate as pervades or gained everywhere. Gained everywhere also means, it's the same thing as meaning pervade, right? So, okay. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Homework is to do the Sandhi exercises that we did. The ones that we didn't do, which is all the ones, the even numbers, we didn't do any of the even numbers. You can do all the Sandhi for Gururbrahma Sandhi. The answers are also, I gave you that worksheet that has the answers. So you can check your answers as you go along. But they should be fairly quick because they're all basically the same for Gururbrahma Sandhi. Yeah, and let me know if you have any more questions with Yad and Tad. We're going to move on from Yad and Tad to Kim Shabda next time. And then after that, we're going to beyond masculine when we're going to Pumsaka Linga, neuter gender, which is very soon. Okay, so we're making progress. We're going to finish this book before we know it. Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll come back in a few minutes. I'm still here. If you have any questions, just let me know. You can put a question mark in the chat. There's a question. Can you please explain what is avarna? Because in Sandhi we said avarna. Yeah. So when we say avarna, varna we usually mean you can akara and akara. Basically, all the ones that are. It can be akara or anything that's similar to akara. So meaning akara, akara, and nasal, with all the different swaras. There's 18 versions of that's all included in avarna. Okay, so when I say avarna, I don't just mean short I'm meaning and basically included. Akara, long . When I say akara, if I say akara, which is a little different, akara means just short akara. But when I say avarna, that means and . Okay, so that's the difference between akara and avarna.